Just a couple of days ago, the Justice Department said, that's it, we're not going after anybody at the CIA for waterboarding or for any of the other torture that was done to detainees. Now, when Eric Holder first came in, he talked a big game. Oh, you know what? There's going to be accountability, etc. Now, President Obama regulated on his ass and said there's going to be no accountability. We don't look backward. That would actually be doing the job of prosecutors, which is what the Justice Department is. You prosecute crimes that happened in the past, not in the future. But President Obama said we're going to look forward. So he won. And look, to be fair, they looked at all these different CIA torture. And it wouldn't have been right to prosecute the CIA agents. They were ordered to do it. If you're going to prosecute anyone, you should prosecute Rumsfeld, Cheney, and Bush. Now, of course, they don't have the, as Clinton said last night, they don't have the brass to do that. There's no way they're going to do that. So they just all let them go. And interestingly enough, a couple of days later, what's announced, a 154-page report that by the human rights group, Human Rights Watch specifically, about 14 Libyan dissident exiles and how we tortured them. Now, first of all, we were told that, hey, listen, there's only been 3 guys that we waterboarded. Nonsense. There's only 3 guys we waterboarded that we admitted to. Did we waterboard these guys? Definitely. Did we do worse to them? Definitely. Now, before you get all excited if you're a conservative and say, yeah, Libyans, they had it coming. Turns out these are the guys that were fighting against Gaddafi. Not only that, some of these people we tortured are now in the new Libyan government we support. We helped to bring in. But back then, there were deals to be made, okay? And it's not just the U.S. that's criticizing this report. The U.K., which struck a really important oil deal at that same exact time. After the U.S. tortured these guys, the U.K. encouraged us to hand them over to Gaddafi on a silver platter, which we did. Let me skip ahead here to the last line because it is devastating. After one of these guys, Belhaj, arrived in Libya, British intelligence congratulated Libyan intelligence chief, quote, with Britain's help, this was, quote, the least we could do for you and for Libya to demonstrate the remarkable relationship we have built. Now, why do they say that? It's a remarkable relationship because we're making remarkable profits off of that oil deal, and you can take these guys who are trying to overthrow your dictatorship and do anything you like with them. That's sick. So what do we do to some of these guys? Not only did we waterboard them over and over again, we had them in secret prisons throughout the world, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, Thailand, Morocco, Sudan, and as I said, eventually handed them over to Libyan authorities. They were part of the anti-Gaddafi Libyan Islamic fighting group, but we shackled them and put them in positions where they would be shackled to a wall. Here, let me describe it from the Associated Press here. Let me quote it. They were shackled in cells for months in a variety of positions, often naked in almost total darkness, with music blaring continuously, left to defecate and urinate on themselves. For example, Al-Sharif spent 3 weeks seated on the ground in his cell, with his ankles and wrists chained to a ring in the wall, forcing him to keep his arms and legs elevated. He said he was taken out of his shackles once a day for half an hour to eat. They said by the end, we looked like monsters. They didn't let them obviously shower for 3 months, and they're urinating and defecating all over themselves, putting them in stress positions, not allowing them to sleep, blaring the music, darkness, isolation. One of the guys lost his mind, started banging his head against the wall, saying, why don't you just kill me now? You think that's not torture? Does anybody think that's not torture? Then they put one guy in a 3-foot by 3-foot box with holes in it, and they started poking him through the holes. So they lock him up in a box and just keep torturing him, trying to drive him crazy more than anything else. Then they take another guy. They slam him against the wall over and over again and punch him in the abdomen, because there are memos written saying you can punch him as long as it's in the abdomen. You could slam them against the wall. And then we had Bush officials come out later say, oh, it's not a big deal. We tested it. Slamming people against the wall doesn't hurt them that much. Yeah. Except after you've already dehumanized them and you told these guys to take the gloves off. And then you told them to slam them against the wall and punch them in the gut over and over again. And then hang them from the ceiling from their arms and their legs. Something unrelated to this report is what happened at Bagram Air Base. We did a Palestinian hanging on a guy, which is not hanging him by the throat, but again, by the arms and legs. Well, it turns out, that affects where your blood flows, and he was in near freezing conditions, and we'd already beaten the hell out of him. And guess what? He died. Okay, if that's not torture, what's torture? Of course this is torture. If all that wasn't bad enough, they brought in one of the wives of the detainees. They let him see her through the peephole and said, if you don't give us what we want, we're all going to rape her next. This is the United States of America. They have soiled our name. Look at what they did in the name of America. How dare they? Maybe I'm corny, but I still believe in America. I still believe in that idea. That's why this stuff makes me sick. This isn't what America is supposed to be about. And what did we do? Now, look, Bush is at fault, no question. They gave the orders. Cheney did, Rumsfeld did, Bush authorized it. There's memos saying throw him against the wall, shackle him, put him in stress positions, don't let him sleep, waterboard them, simulated drowning. They did it over and over again. They're lying when they say they did it to 3 people. Human Rights Watch confirms it. They did it to so many more people, including people who were actually ultimately on our side and against the dictator Gaddafi. But Bush did it. We know it. For Obama to come in and then cover all this up, you always hear in politics the cover-up is worse than the crime. In this case, look, the crime is hideous. I'm not saying the cover-up is worse, but there is one devastating part about Obama covering for them. You make it optional when you do that. You take it from the realm of torture is a crime to torture is optional. You take it from the realm of America promotes human rights, built the United Nations, promoted the idea of human rights throughout the world, and you flip it on its head and you say, no, 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 America doesn't really believe in that stuff. We believe in torture, and the next time there's a president who wants to do torture, it's perfectly legal. Look, Obama didn't do anything about it. 0 prosecutions. So we're just going to go back to doing that in the name of America and threatening people's wives with rape. That's the America we're proud of? I love America. That's not the America I believe in. They took this country down a long, dark, nightmarish road. And there should have been consequences. Somebody should have come in and said, not on our watch. That's not the America we believe in. We believe one that's better than torturers and dictators and terrorists. Unfortunately, we didn't get a strong leader like that. We got one that said, we're going to give him a free pass. We're not going to look backward. We're going to look forward. None of them have been prosecuted, and it makes me sick. Young Turks.